It's Triple Crown here, Saturday, November 2nd, 2024. Continuing on at the Fort Wayne show, this video is going to revolve around one deal in particular. It was the largest sale that I made at the show. The centerpiece, if you will, of the deal was that Jared Goff True NTRPA that you see at the bottom of your screen there with the ram horn. One of my favorite cards in my showcase. This is a card that was on consignment from Justin. It ends up moving in this deal that you will see broken down throughout this video. Just a fair warning, as most of my videos are exposition heavy, this one will probably be even more so. There will be a lot of me talking in this rather than showing footage. There will be footage shown, of course, but it will be more so complimentary to what I am saying, because I wanted to really take a deep dive into this sale, since deals of this size are quite frankly abnormal. I know that it can be easy to think that this is supposed to be a normal thing when you're looking through card show vlogs and you're particularly seeing what seems to be generating the most buzz on social media, what gets the most engagements, the most views, the most likes. However, these types of deals don't happen at every single show. A lot of these deals actually happen behind the scenes, in the shadows, if you will. There's a lot of things that get prearranged before shows start or happen during the week when shows aren't even a part of it. Today I want to kind of show you what one of these larger scale deals looks like, because I feel it's important to paint a more realistic view of what happens with these deals, and also to kind of walk you through my process of how I handle something that has this kind of value to it, because there is certainly a different thought process that goes into this compared to, say, $100 deal. I think that is also true on the buyer side as well. I'm going to try to walk you through what the buyer is thinking, although I can't be for sure. I'm having to make some assumptions on my end, and you know what happens when you assume. But I'm going to do my best to kind of listen to what the buyer is saying throughout this process, trying to understand it on my end and put it into perspective. I hope that you enjoy this particular video. It's going to be slightly different from what I normally do in my vlogs. Would love any feedback in the comments down below, but let's go ahead and get started here.
What can we get down to on this one?
I'm open to an offer. I've had some interest in it today, but all right, first things first, this probably won't come as a surprise to anyone, but I'm not going to negotiate against myself on this one. I've already had one person ask me what's my best on this golf RPA at this show. I just told him 2,800, because usually when you ask me that question, I'm not going to move too far off of my sticker. I'm more willing to be talked down and more likely to be talked down if there is some kind of negotiation that goes on. But all of my cards are priced already. I don't put the stickers on there to make them colorful and fun. I put them on there because that's what I want for the cards. And at that point, it is on the buyer to make me an offer from there. Now, I am all for going back and forth and encountering offers, but I've put my price out there, and to me, that's where the negotiation starts. I'm not going to give in any more right off the bat anyways, because I'm really losing any advantage that I would have as a seller at that point.
So I know there's nothing recent. The last out of 99 to 17.
Yeah.
Probably up a little bit since then. Can you get to 22?
I couldn't do that.
23?
You're not too far off. I would do 25. And that'd be
my only if I don't like, the top is pretty chipped.
Yeah, that's the one downside to it.
Yeah, that's,
to me,
it's a nice patch.
Right, the ram horn patch is why I value it that high. I doubt there's I mean, I won't say for sure, because I was shocked that they put that patch in out of 99, but
yeah,
it probably is the best patch among all the trues out there. There are two tactics being deployed by the buyer in this situation that I get quite a bit, and I'll kind of tell you how I handle them normally versus this situation here. The first one, you've probably seen it many times in my vlogs. The last one did. That argument here gets a little trickier than normal. I've always said before that just because it last did something doesn't mean that you can get it for that price again. It may be less, it may be more. It kind of goes both ways here. Now, to his credit, he did say he does think the card is up since then, but I don't know if guesstimating the value of the card based off of that one sale is necessarily the best move. Now, I know that there were some sales on golf true RPAs that were higher than that, which is why that last sale is a little bit more beneficial to use for the buyer in this circumstance. But still, had that card been lower previously, then using that last higher sale is definitely not beneficial to the buyer. Also, keeping in mind that I always say that that price is not guaranteed as today's price. What's also not guaranteed is having a buyer for that card. Personally, I'd love to keep that golf card in my collection. It is on consignment, meaning I'd have to buy it from Justin, who is the owner of the card. I don't really want to pay that much because I would rather use those, say, $2,000 to $2,500 on something else in my life right now. You know, I need to save for a wedding. I need to save for my own savings account. There are things that take higher priority for me, even though I am in the market for a nicer Jared golf card for my collection. That's someone who is into cards and probably spends more on cards than most people do. Finding that buyer, although it is a really nice card and one that a lot of people I'm sure would love to have in their collection, is going to be a little bit more challenging at that price point. Really, once you get above $500, it becomes a little bit more challenging. Now, what I also have to keep in mind as a seller is that the buyer for this card is likely going to be someone who is money motivated, where they are going to try to get more out of this card at a later point in time. They could perhaps be buying it for their collection, but they are hoping that it appreciates in value, which I can understand for sure. At this kind of price point, you're not going to get impulse decision buyers. There are some people who go to the show and pull something out of a dollar box because it's an impulse buy. Maybe that price point is $5, $10, $20, $50, $100 for people. But I can tell you right now, I've had some pretty affluent customers in the card game over the years that I've done this. None of them just throw $2,000 around willy-nilly on a single card. At least I haven't seen it yet. There are probably some people out there, but they are extremely few and far in between. That is something that I am definitely keeping in mind on these larger cards, that it is someone who is likely looking for resale purposes. And in order to make this sale, that is something I'm going to have to keep in mind. Now, is it my job to leave them meat on the bone? Of course it's not. But at the same time, finding someone who is going to want this in their collection, it's going to take some time. And if I am willing to move off of it now, I can maybe not get the full realization of price. But as long as I get a number that I'm happy with, that is what matters most to me. The other part of this is the comment about the card's top edge. Yes, it does have condition issues. I find that often kind of downplaying the card to the dealer is not the best strategy. You don't want to put the dealer on defense, because what it comes off as to me is that you're just not as interested in the card. I'm usually more willing to work with you if you are more interested. I know that there are some people that might argue, well, if a dealer knows that you really want it, they're going to hold firm on their price and try to get you to crack. It really goes both ways, but in my experience, most of the time dealers are more motivated to move cards to people who have a lot of passion for them. At least that's how I feel about it.
24. Meet in the middle.
I'd be firm at 25.
Killing it.
I did 49, so it's not really good. Not pretty good, though.
All right, give me a second.
No worries.
I'm gonna leave this here for a moment.
Yeah.
I'm in at 24. I'll pull 24 out of here.
Is there anything else I have that you like?
Let me take a look.
That tactic there is one that I have used before. Bringing out the cash for a deal before we officially shake hands on it. It is admittedly something I've used in a vlog before, and some people have pointed it out. But to me, it is something that can help whoever has the card visualize the deal being completed a little better. When you're talking numbers, that's one thing, but when you can actually see the fruits of your labor in front of you, that being a big stack of $100 bills, it makes it a little bit more real, and it makes it a little bit more obtainable in a sense as well. Now, I'm not going to crack here just yet. He is incredibly nice, he's polite, he's great to work with. Usually when that is the case, I am much more inclined to work with someone and try to finish the negotiation. Being polite and respectful is going to take you a lot more than kind of acting like Mr. Big Shot sometimes that you might see at a show. But he's incredibly polite. I'm enjoying our negotiation. I want to work with him, but I think at this point what is most beneficial for both of us is to add to this deal. Now, we could also subtract if this was a multi-card deal and we were at this impasse, but in this case we are only at one card in the deal. If he picks something else out of my case, I am definitely more inclined to move on price, because if I can move volume, especially if he picks at least one more of my comma cards, that is really going to incentivize me to make this sale happen. Now, if he picks my cards that I think are a little easier to sell, perhaps I haven't had them as long, perhaps I am more confident in my ability to get my number out of them and that they will move at a future show, then I'm not going to be as willing to move. It's all really going to depend on what he picks out, but it is more beneficial for me that way. It's also more beneficial for him because he's going to get a better deal on multiple cards rather than just one if we are able to reach a deal here.
So I'll put this back in my pocket for a moment. We'll leave it sitting on the table. Yeah, it's my manager over there. He says 24 is it.
You guys have a shop?
Yeah.
I'm from Cincinnati, so
okay.
But I've been to Indy more times than I can count.
Yeah, yep.
How long you guys been around?
About 1.5 years now.
Okay. Next time I go to Indy, I'll check you guys out.
Absolutely.
This conversation here gives me a little bit more insight into the buyer. It's also nice just to talk to your customers about things. People like to talk about themselves, so I will usually ask people about themselves. But now I know that these guys own a shop in the Indianapolis area. Normally when I'm asking about these types of questions, I can sometimes put 2 and 2 together in my head and have cards that I could recommend to them. For example, if I had a really nice Colts card in my showcase, that might be something that they could view as an opportunity for them to add to the golf and get this deal done. If they were a shop in Michigan, I could definitely understand a lot more why they'd want the golf because, well, they'd be in Lions country. Perhaps I could bundle in some Lions stuff or even some Tiger stuff since I have a large collection of baseball here off to my right. However, that's not really going to be the case for Indianapolis. Really, it's Colts and Pacers for local interests outside of your standard hot players. I don't really want to move any of my hot players. Kind of the goal here of adding on and compromising on my price a little bit is that I'm going to want him to take something that I am less confident in moving. I can't really add anything there, but at least I kind of have a better idea for, where he's coming from on this. At the same time, he has a better idea of where I'm coming from. We talked about how I'm a Lions fan a little bit. We talked about the golf card a little bit off camera here. Now we both have a better understanding of where each other are coming from. And hopefully we can use that to bridge the gap here and finish up this deal, but we don't have anything necessarily of local interest for him in the case. Therefore, he's going to need to pick something else out, which he does.
Can you get to 150 on this one? 25.50?
I would do 150 on that if you do the 25 on the golf.
I gotta stay at 24. How about?
I probably would have shaken hands at this point if that was my card, but being that the golf RPA is Justin's card, I have to try to do what I think is best for him, and that's really push for that 25 number. I think that he would be happy with that number. I don't know if he would be happy at the 2400. I don't want to call him and have to ask him about it here. I'd rather just kind of handle it on my own and use my best judgment, because that's what he would want me to do, is use my best judgment. Now, where I think he would move a little bit more is if he took one of those big Joe Burrows that he had in the other case, or perhaps one of the other big cards that he had that I had traded on his behalf at some point in time. If he can add one of those cards into that deal and really elevate the total sale price of it, I am definitely all on board for shaking hands and coming down to 24 on that golf.
Anything else you like? Just
So I'm giving it one more go around, but I think that's it. Who's this?
Brandon Marshall.
Oh, sweet. That's cool. Yeah, he was good for a bit, huh? I like a lot of stuff. I just don't. I mean, I can't. I would look up this Burrow stuff, but I have a feeling it's going to be bad.
I just repriced them, so I mean, they're not too far away. Like if you.
Let's see if this
They're probably like a little bit above whatever the last one was, is how I did them. The blue shimmer hasn't sold in over a year that I can see. These two, I think, have sold since the start of the season, at least once.
Okay, so yeah, the last 10 was 41. Before that, 38, 45. So that's probably reasonable.
That's on the checker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually try to put things in the middle,
yeah,
unless there's some reason why, like I'm buried or something. But these I'm not buried on.
So like something like that, I'd do like 33 on the checker. 33.
How about an even 6 for these three?
33, 58, 70. I'd go up to 59. Make an even 59.
That's close enough.
That's good. All right, let's do it.
There it is. Deal done at $5,900 for the Burrow checker, the Golf RPA, and then the Miguel Cabrera Stadium Club Auto. Could I have come back at $6,000 again here? Sure, I could have, but really at that point, I didn't want to split hairs anymore. He was taking two really big cards that while I could try to fight for a little bit extra if I was selling them individually, I'm not going to do so in this case. He's taking them both. I'm happy with those numbers. I think those two numbers are in Justin's best interest. Like I said before, that Burrow might have last sold for something, but if you look at the previous sales, the last sale on it was a little high. He's kind of, giving me the benefit of the doubt on that one while I give him a little bit more on the golf. It's a lot of compromise here that comes into it too, and it's part of the territory when you are selling these larger cards. To me, I felt like this was a fair deal. I was glad we could work it out. I enjoyed our side conversations as well. I hope to further build that relationship when I visit his shop during MVP buyback season. More on that in a future video. But there it is. If you enjoyed this format, let me know in the comments down below. Figured I'd try something a little different. But until next time, take care, stay safe, and be kind. Thanks for watching.